All right, it's January 18th. No, that was weird.
Oh, yeah.
January 4th, 2019. This is Paul Power bringing to you Robert Nelson and his work, Keys, Love Letters from God, that he channeled. And he's reading them to you one by one. And as an aside, anyone who makes it this far, you can look for him on Facebook, Robert Nelson, and you'll know it's his icon when you see a design that he drew of Archangel Michael exploding with a shield. You'll know it when you see it. If you're interested, you can friend him and you can talk about this stuff further if you'd like.
Sure.
I know he'd like it. Okay, so let's get started. We're on number 29.
Yeah.
And this one's about reincarnation.
I have to tell you, this is another loaded one. They all are, but this one, well, we'll get into it. Reincarnation. You are as an actor playing many roles. Each character you play has personality and memory all its own. The true identity of you as the actor is the channel of truth, which permeates and binds every role you play. Not binding as in imprisonment, binding as in uniting, pulling together. The names may change, even the personalities. But that which is true about you remains forever, for it is real. The parts played are not eternal, but the one playing them is. This is the truth of reincarnation. Reincarnation is not an effort to forget. It is an attempt to remember your true identity. In my vision, all reincarnations are happening simultaneously. In other words, you are all reincarnations of one another. That's in boldface type. And it's an amazing, beautiful message. Reincarnation is not the mystery that is sometimes made out to be. In truth, there is just incarnation. And he's thinking of infinite incarnation, all happening all at once. Think of this phenomena as various dreams in which the dreamer is still the same being. I like that. In many respects, reincarnations are a form of memory. The current metaphysical training in your world would have you believe that reincarnation and karma are inextricably linked. For many people, karma has been made the law of the universe. If this were true, retribution would be the law instead of love. The concept of multiple lives can become a false god in and of itself, for it is often used as a tool of the ego to promote specialness through separation. My beloved, you are my incarnation. You are my completion. You are the meaning of my existence. Reincarnation, as you know it, offers no solutions to the nature of this universe or the multiverse. It does, however, offer complexity. I am simple. Do you live multiple lives? Yes, you may, as you choose to do so. Is it safe for you to remember the events in your various lives? This depends upon your reason for doing so. Ask yourself if you are serving the separation or wholeness by such an attempt. Why do you not remember more readily those events of your previous lives? In your lives there are lessons laid for the learning by you. If you become fixed upon I lost my place. If you become fixed upon the identity that you have worn in one of the particular lives, then you limit your own true nature as the infinite being, me. In other words, whether you were named John in one life, or Jane, or Linda, or Brett, these are not the fulfillment of your being. These are very meaningful steps along the way to that fulfillment. But the real priority here is to remember your true identity as what you call God incarnated. If remembering past lives allows you to come to this realization more effectively, this is fine. If, on the other hand, such information is used to make you feel special, apart from others, this is delusional and destructive of your own potential. I'm going to break for a minute here. How do I put this? I know who I've been in other lives. Some of those lives have been very helpful to people in very important history, and some of them have been what I call schlock lives. But you know what? They're all equal, because they're all learning steps along the way. They're all equal. They're all of equal importance, infinite importance, especially as we learn to lay them aside. That sounds contradictory, doesn't it? I don't need to live one of my past lives over again. Been there, done that, like people say today. One of my lives that I lived 2,000 years ago in Judea can be a hang-up. But it's like I tell people when I do tell them this, and it's not that often, but I'm Bob now. I have a very firm grasp on being Bob. And Bob is important in his own way. But I also know Bob is God, just like I know you as God. And so these lives have served their purpose in getting me to know that. So don't, if you're dealing with reincarnation, don't make the mistake of getting caught up and hung up on one of your particular lifetimes. Because you chose to come back in the lifetime you're in now. There was a lesson there that you, as God would put it, laid for the learning. Okay. Now this may seem a bit confusing. You need to know that you may even reach and remember that which you would call future lives. For these lives are also happening, as are all of your lifetimes, in the eternal now. All lifetimes are happening in the eternal now. People have asked me how to reach timelessness and how to reach time travel. It's very simple. You have to get to the eternal now. That's the timeless state. And you have to get to the infinite here. The infinite here and the eternal now are the heart of eternity and infinity. Our future lives are happening right now, just like our past lives are happening right now. And we're living in this life, and we can actually reach those lives by what we do here. What we do here can either harm those efforts, therefore changing our present life for the worse, or it can actually benefit those lives and therefore benefit our life in the present. Now that is really, people today like to say, That's really heavy. Well, it's not. These letters are not heavy. They're for freeing us. But it gives you an idea, a glimpse, at what amazing beings we really are. And this is what Keys is offering us a chance to see and be. Recognition, invitation to sanity. Yes, all of your lifetimes are happening in the eternal now. So every life you will live, is accessible from your present. This means that when you have the power to help or hinder your very own being, capital B for being, and its progress to the fulfillment as the state of grace known as the kingdom of heaven. So we have the power to help or hinder that progress. Forgiveness and healing go hand in hand. When empowering yourself in the midst of your past, present, and future lives. Think about that. We can actually do forgiveness of events that have happened a long time ago or that will happen in the future. Blaming issues of your present life as resulting from a previous life is a folly which damns your progress in the present and adds more to the difficulty of your lessons being learned in future lives. What we do here affects everything, forever. The ego also can be passed from one life to the next, and usually is. If this were not so, reincarnation would cease to exist. Oof. As there would be no further need for it. This is precisely what happens when you have dreamt enough dreams of separation from self. You know, sometimes after we've dreamt enough, we tend to wake up. And that's a good thing. Reincarnation is nothing more than an opportunity to lay aside the ego and its resulting limited and limiting view of self, the divine self. Now this next group of sentences is capitalized and bold-faced. The soul actually is the ego. Ow. And it will survive as long as you feed it the fuel necessary to keep it alive from one lifetime to the next and from one star system to the next. To give up the need for a soul is to give up the need for memories and reactions which result from a limited delusional view of our shared capital S self, God. All that is left then is the true identity we really are, love. This goes back, I'm doing a little break here, this goes back to the concept of that brick wall. Once it's torn down, what's left? God. Giving up things that seem precious to you in order to get the greatest thing possible. So you're not losing a damn thing. You're gaining everything. I know this can be a fearful concept, especially if you think that you need to lose something, the very something which makes you believe that you are real. What can you truly lose? Only limitation can be lost. And this is given up as a matter of your own choice. Everything you believe you know about yourself is limited compared to the being you really are. Bob Nelson's a limitation. Unless he sees through it and knows who he is, and he does. And if I can do it, then believe me, anybody can. Because I can be pretty dense and stubborn at times. I know me. I jokingly tell people I'm a Taurus, and people say that Taurians are stubborn, and I'm not stubborn no matter what you say. Well, anyway, yeah, I am dense at times, and I am stubborn sometimes. But I know who I am. And if I can do that, believe me, Anyone can. You can do it. A soul may be used as an example of love and wholeness. However, all too often the soul is used as a limiting view of existence, like that fisheye lens. Do not let the need for a soul and the fuel used to sustain it act as an impediment to your realization of our true being. Reincarnation is something that was and is made by you. The word make or made, not shared, not created. In this sense, it does exist. You are free, however, to unmake it with my help if you invite me. Regardless of how heavenly or hellish a soul may become from one lifetime to the next, there is only one real being, capital B, being God. That is love. Each incarnation is an opportunity to remember this. Lessons in each lifetime are simply methods of opportunities to remember wholeness. I'm going to tell you something here, and some things aren't easy for me about this, you know. True. A long time ago, I was a spiritual way shower. I have been in a number of lives. In this world and other worlds. But in one of my more recent lifetimes, I was Rasputin. I'm not proud of it. Well, I did do some good back in that life, but I did a lot of debauchery as well. But I'm not going to judge it. Because I know who I am. Love. God. So, like it says, lessons in each lifetime are simply methods of or opportunities to remember wholeness. For wholeness is our true nature. Everything else is the complexity of forgetting. My advice to you is not to cling to the memories of the past. Otherwise, you become crucified in the present. Let not the dreamer become the dream. It's important there. Let the sleepers awaken. Reincarnation can be the ego's view of the kingdom divided. And of course, that ain't possible. And this, my beloved, cannot be. It has long been argued that for reincarnation to exist, I would still be creating souls. The fallacy in this argument is the belief that I ceased creating after the 6th day of the biblical accounts of creation. The fact is, I am bound by no such union rules. He put union rules in quotes. There's that humor again. I continue to create and will do so eternally. God is. He can't cease to create. For this is the very nature of love, the sharing of being into creation. This is who I am. Our love binds all incarnations together as one. The greatest view of incarnation which I offer you is simply to love me as you love yourself and your brother and sister, that final commandment. For this is exactly who I am. That's the only real incarnation that matters. Based on this, you may return as many lives as you wish, as the vision of love and wholeness offered by your example to your brother and sister in the midst of their dream or dreams. Then you become the voice which bids them to awaken in a time of their choosing. See, then we become the saviors. From the only real incarnation, I offer you the vision of wholeness, God. We have a term in our language, Messiah, Savior, Anointed. That's something each one of us is going to become. Christhood is up for grabs. Anyone can have it by being it. I've heard it argued with me before that, well, Bob, given who you were a long time ago, 2,000 years ago, there are a lot of people in this world today, how do you feel about this, who think they were Jesus? That's great, because if a lot more people thought they were Jesus, this world would be a lot better. A lot more loving, a lot more heart. So for me, that'd be fine. I'd invite it. Each one of us can become the Messiah, the way shower, the one who frees, which is the definition of a friend, the anointed, whatever you want to call it, whatever faith or lack thereof. You can become, I'm going to use the term the Christ, for any and everyone around you. For yourself first, but then for any and everyone else after that. Because you can't do it until you do it for yourself. Then you do it with everyone. And if people come up to you and say, how do you do this? How is it you don't get upset about it? How is it, well, you get upset but you turn it into something positive. How is it you do healing work? Then you can share with them. But if you go up to someone and say, now wait a minute, here's how you do this, then you're imposing. That's not sharing. Then you're pushing them away. And you can't blame them for that. When I do healing work with people in this life as well as 2,000 years ago, I don't go up to a person and say, here, let me heal you. I notice you're limping. No. The person comes to me and asks. And in that asking, they're opening up. They're doing the work it takes to open up, to enjoy a miracle. And the miracle is nothing more than a reminder of our true identity, our wholeness. Refocusing back onto wholeness instead of something else. So you see, when someone comes to you and says, how do you do this? They're beginning to open up to something better. But you don't go up to them and push. You live your example. If they like what they see, they'll come ask for it. If they don't like what they see, they won't. But the fact that they've seen it will quicken their process too.